No will be on a killing spree on the Oracle now. 3-1, the way of Adroit.
Definitely is, but Mac is under a lot of pressure again. This time, a lot more supports rotating down to get this kill.
Yeah, but a lot more coming in to help. One will cancel Boomy. He'll follow all the way through. That's the thing with an Alp, John. Like, he suffers a bit in mid lane, gets levels up in Acid Spray and Chemical Rage, then goes jungle. Like, Geek.FAm know this, obviously, they just won't leave Mac alone. But ultimately, Mac is eventually going to be able to just go jungle and recover. Although, nice dip in from Carl. It's very, very deep, and Mac doesn't have any help now, and they will find a secondary kill on the Alchemist.
That's definitely what they need. This does allow them to get a little bit of chip damage on that mid-tier one as well. And Boomy actually drops fairly low, although they aren't ready to commit. This is really hurting the pace of Mac. They do have really good wards now from Geek.FAm as well to watch that jungle. And Carl is actually clearing out the camps where the Alk would want to be anyway.
His ability.
That's the idea. Just clear out as many camps as you can near the Alk. Oh, Boomy. Giving 3 kills away to Carl now. You want to protect the Alchemist, but not like that. It's not the way to do it. So Mac, he will rotate to the jungle now, but he's had enough.
Yeah, they did manage to get the D ward on that vision that Geek.FAM has, so the jungle is just a bit more open here. But you still run the risk of rotations in. All this time with supports out of those lanes does mean Raven as well. It's something you didn't talk about. On the Terrorblade is actually farming quite well and finds a kill.
Yeah, very nice. Bot goes down on the Pangalee. That makes it a 3-4, much more even game. In fact, Geek.FAM is now overtaking in terms of kill score. They also take a 1k net worth, which is very nice. Like you said, Raven's pretty farming. This is when you look at that last hits board and you see the Storm and Terrorblade at the top, you do get a little bit scared if you're an Adroit fan.
Yeah, they don't need too much farm on their Lycan, but when you're lagging behind like this, you do give a lot for this Terrorblade to play around. Raven is going to be farming into the Yasha, presumably into the Manta style first, unless he does want to go for the SNY, which we've seen a lot of heroes gravitate towards now with this patch change. But the options are there. They aren't threatening this Terrorblade. Raven is actually just left alone up top. So you're losing out farm on Mac. You're letting Raven free farm. Your Lycan is somewhat keeping up in terms of last hits at the very least, but it's not quite there yet, although the Lycan should be online a bit faster. There is some pressure on Natsumi to ensure that these objectives melt early on to buy space for that Alk.
He's trying, but again, you'll see Zephyr rotating on the top, gets a very nice shot, already blocking it in, but this time with Chemical Rage, there's a lot less kill potential of Zephyr here to get out there, maybe not. Carl will jump in, the Swatch Bucket will actually not finish the job. It was a snowball that came out, and in fact, they're going to lose Carl, they're going to lose Zephyr. They were ready for it this time. And glimpse back. It looks like Bot will end up fighting Wyman on the Disruptor. Natsumi's glimpse back, but it just doesn't matter. And it's a 3-0 in terms of that team fight. Very nice from Adroit.
It just turns around on a coin flip there. All of a sudden, you aren't killing Mac, Mac's killing you. It took a bit too long for Carl to get in there and back up Zephyr. That does cost him. This will allow Natsumi to start chipping away at that tier 1 up top, and this gives a lot of space towards Mac. He is still fairly far behind. Like, this is not where you want your Alk to be, but when you give him kills like that, this definitely gives a lot more room for him to breathe.
Well, they go for a duel down a bot lane. They're going to try and get a trade with this tier 1 tower. That's exactly what they're going to do. Start forcing it in. The top lane is still being pushed in by Natsumi, so someone needs to get there and defend. They'll fortify. That should be enough. And you'll see Cuckoo. He'll go in and take that farm for the team. But it's all a distraction. The man they need to be looking for right now is within a very safe range, doing exactly what he needs to do. Unfortunately for him, he didn't exactly find as many bounty runes as he would have liked. I believe he only got 1 that time. But sometimes that's how it works. You can't get all the batteries.
No, although...
They thought about going on.
Looked like... Yeah, it looked like Bach wanted to, but... This is still looking okay for Geek.FAM. Like, Adroit with the Alchemist want that network advantage. They actually don't have it yet. So Geek.FAM still has a lot of leeway here. In fact, they do scout Bach out. Raven's playing really far forward. Forces out the Rolling Thunder, but nothing really comes out from it.
Raven's just doing what Raven needs to do. Keep farming on that turret lane. He's still ahead of the Arc in terms of net worth, but that gap is closing in very, very quickly from Matt, who has already queued up that Radiance. Definitely not going to be the best timing in the world for an Alchemist, but you take what you can get. And Geek.FAM, they are ensuring they're trying to take as much map control as possible, and that's really how you shut down an Alch. In fact, Natsumi, top lane, going to get jumped. He does move the wolf form. Is there going to be a duel for Cuckoo? He will not make it. The TP was just way too long. Although, in fact, he did get... And with that, the duel will be there. And so that snowball, just giving enough vision for Whiteman to actually get the glimpse off.
Yeah, that's a big kill going the way of Geek.FAM once more, kind of taking the wind out of Adroit's sails. They're not finding that network lead they need to. You're not getting enough space with Natsumi's Lycan. He's managed to take one objective and apply light pressure up top, not too much. Geek.FAM going to be very happy with the state of the game, 6-6, less than 1k advantage going the way of Geek.FAM. That is against an Alch, and that is a very bad state of the Alch. Max still has a lot of catching up.
Nice shot coming out from Zephyr. Booming will go up in the air, does go down. Carl also has a regen in the bottle up, so Geek.FAM may be very willing to try and go for a team fight soon. It always is nice when you have a regen storm. Max still suffering here. Be a real shame if he died right now. Like, he's getting very close. I say very close, he's still not that close to that Sacred Relic. Geek.FAM are having a look around to see if they can find him, but instead they're going to have to settle for Natsumi. Still a very nice kill if they can get it.
Oh.
Geek.FAM. Shards, gonna get vision, and Snowball of course gonna be there. Natsumi will have no way out. Another duel coming. They will secure the kill. The Rolling Thunder will be there from Bach. They want to try and punish for this, but there's only 2 heroes up there for now. In fact, make it 3. The Enchantress is there as well. They're gonna be able to claim up Cuckoo. But I think you're still very satisfied if you're Geek.FAM. You just slow down the Lycan.
Yeah, you're not finding the best trades. They do get the root off onto Zephyr right as the TP was about to go off, so they should find another trade. But these aren't the biggest priority targets, right? Cuckoo is a bit better. Zephyr is definitely not up there, and in sacrifice of your Lycan and your Alch, not worthwhile.
Yeah, Raven was already there. I didn't realize that Carl would jump down to the storm and pick up the kill as well. Yeah, definitely not worth it at all for Adroit. And like you said before, meanwhile, while all this is happening, Raven's still freely farmed. Like, he is still the top of the net worth board. This is a disastrous out game. We're 14 minutes in with no Radiance, not even a Sacred Relic yet. He's still 700 gold off. It's, you start to question how effective the out's going to be if he's this far behind.
It's hard for an Alch to bounce back from this kind of deficit, although...
Boomy has friends, Rolling Thunder, not being committed yet, but they get the Fortune's End. That'll be enough. Boomy picks up a kill onto Whiteman. Nice shard block from Zephyr, just blocking the stairway. Carl is around there. They could definitely try for a fight if the push comes in. From the side of Adroit. Into Carl, he does get a vortex off, he's going to be onto Bach, but he'll swashbuckle away. By the way, John, Carl is already trying to go for an Aghanim Scepter.
I like that. I like the Ags on Storm. I think it's going to give you a lot more control.
nobody really care for the time piece.
He's not a big priority target. We tend to see this with Zephyr. He's just thrown out there to give information. That's information that Geek.FAM does kind of maximize well. And Adroit's still not going to be too happy with just killing off a Tusk. He's not worth much. You're still not finding that net worth advantage. Mac is now number 2 though. 1,000 gold behind Raven. So you are seeing that bounce back up. You do have the Sacred Relic up on Mac. Still going to be finishing up that Radiance, but shouldn't take too long. I do worry for Adroit. The timings are definitely off. And if Geek.FAM keep applying this pressure, then you'll always see this issue coming up for Adroit. And one of the things with the Alk as well, right? He's a gold sink. All of your net worth into the Alk. If it doesn't pay off, then you're stuck with a gold sink that's really not doing anything for you.
Well, you gotta ask how much longer like this Alchemist can go on like this. We never see this. 16 minutes in, he's still behind, and now Raven, he's gonna find it. Matt, he's still not the rage. He can't afford to die like this, but he gets caught out and he does die. Okay. So now it's at least 17 minutes before the Radiance, more than likely 18. This is yeah, it's problematic, John.
The aggression from Geek.FAM is the exact counterplay to this kind of draft from Adroit. We expected so much more space coming out from this Lycan. We expected so many more saves from CML. They're just never there when they need to be around Mac. So Mac is just suffering hard for it, and they still have never punished Raven. You know, Terrorblade has weaknesses in the lane that we have seen teams really force out. Raven has had a free time. 1-0, 3 assists, all the farm in the world. Has his man style up, is working towards that BKB. Once the BKB is up, you have really no hope of just killing off Raven anymore.
They do get the Roshan. If Mac's gonna die, they may as well give him a second life. I believe it will probably go, who do you give it to? Like, you don't want to give it to the Lycan because he won't have wolf form after he's dead. You don't really want to give it to Mac because he's not doing anything yet. But it looks like Mac has freed up the slot, so he is the one taking it. It seems like they're just more denying the Aegis away from Geek.FAM.
It does look that way. I think that's what they're trying to go for. They can't really fight in the pit if Geek.FAM chose to force it out. They're just going to be going for it themselves. First, you take a look at Mac, right? After that, the Radiance, he's going to be going for the BKB next, which should mitigate a lot of that control Geek.FAM has. I don't think he's going to be big enough in the Alk to really stand there and fight, especially when you consider what Raven has. Like, that BKB is not going to be stopping the physical damage output of Raven, and it is really high as long as he has his Metamorphosis up. So there are still issues with the timing here. There's still a 1k advantage in Geek.FAM. Never something you want to see when you're in Alk. You know, you don't want to be even. You don't want to be behind us when you're running the Alk. You want to be 15k ahead at this point in the game, or at least 5k at 17. You know, that's a reasonable amount for the Alk. We're not there. So Geek.FAM is very happy with the state of the game. They've really managed to find every single kill they want. They have slowed down the pace of Adroit, and Adroit's just not finding the success they need. Like, the push we're seeing from Natsumi is just not great. He takes 1 tier 1, that's it. There's nothing else on the map they've taken away from Geek.FAM.
That's good.
Work for both of us?
Get better.
So Mac's got a second life. That's a positive. I mean,
do anything in his first life anywhere. It's like, okay, it's going to be longer.
Survivability.
Yeah, like, his team has to be around him. That's the key part. Like, every single time he's isolated and alone, for this Aegis to work, you have to have everyone around you.
Oh, he gets jumped off. They just want to take out this enchantment, but Bombstorm is committed. She's underneath the Static Storm. Wyman, he will drop. Bob looks for another target, but Carl zips out. They do manage to eventually get that T1 mid tower as well, but Cuckoo is thinking about trying to find a jewel. Still doesn't have a blink dagger, however. And while they're making that push, the good news is our Radiance is up.
Yeah, you've got the Radiance at last and Mac. A bit faster. He can have a little bit more presence in these fights. Not quite ready to just join up on these team fights, but certainly a lot harder to kind of pick off now. But, you know, from those kills before, Carl already had the Bloodstone, so he's built up in that. They clear out the dominated creep as well from the Enchantress. And Geek.FAM still looking pretty steady. Again, you still have a net foot advantage on Raven. You are seeing Max start to rack it up. Geek.FAM has to keep playing aggressive. See, that's the one thing as well. We're talking about Adroit being behind, but Geek.FAM needs to maintain that aggression. They do smoke up. They're going to try to find something.
Oh, they have Metamorphosis and they have a Mantra on Raven. He's hitting very, very hard. Still at the top of the net worth board, by the way, on that Terror Blade. They're going to run straight into Bot. It's not really the target they'd like, but they'll have to take it, it seems. And Snowball will come out. Bot trying to run. Rolling Thunder won't be there in time. Raven attacking creeps right now. You've got to attack the heroes. He does eventually get it. Again, it's not really the target they want, but it does force Mac out of the triangle. So
Yeah,
this
that's-
is all time he's just not farming.
They deny that area from Adroit, which is still pretty nice, and they might find more if they're not careful.
Middle tower
They just want the bounties, it seems. The Geek.FAM have been very good at this,
Not
at denying most of the bounties. And...
Illusion blown away.
Okay.
He was in wolf form as well, just chased down by the storm. Way more mana than you'd expect with that Bloodstone. I believe he was just farming that top jungle and trying to chip away at that tier 2. Doesn't pay off. It's coming out onto CML.
Well, he tried to go for the bounty and they knew he would. Fate's edict, only going to delay the inevitable. Clumsy heavy fortune does it off. But the jewel comes out. They were waiting on Cuckoo.
The storm was coming.
Things get from bad to worse if you are Adroit.
Stupendous.
Mac even taking the tomb now to hit that level 15 mark.
You never want
It's
to
never a
see
good
that.
sign. Yeah, never.
That's how far behind Adroit's playing from. And you look at the scoreboard, sure, Geek.FAM, 1k lead, that's not too bad. But it's against an Alk. That might as well be a 10k lead at this point because of how the Alk works. And there's just so much more ground here Adroit has to try to recover. I think they have to play together. You know, they've got to try to find something. They've got to bait in Geek.FAM to fight their Alk while they have their Oracle around. And if they can get that done, they might be able to win.
They're going for a smoke. They are going to find Carl. If they can keep him stunned up, it'd be amazing. Cuckoo is trying to run in and press the attack, and he will eventually. Carl, he cannot get the zip off in time. Great kill. Bot trying to chase down Zephyr now. Zephyr again with a nice shot, but they are still going to continue with this chase. First up, Fortune Zephyr's going to be there. Zephyr's still running away, but they get the pumpkin out. Still, Raven is coming in. Now he does have a BKB available. Raven, he does have mana, but there's not the wind stuck in that static storm. Now they will continue going up to CML. The CML will be perfectly fine as Raven's going to be the one in trouble. He needs to get out, but they do end up killing off Natsumi. Why is Mac here? I believe Mac probably should be farming somewhere right now.
I'm not sure why he decided to join in right after Natsumi dies. Just a lot that, well, you know, overall.
Eternal spring.
He doesn't need to worry about it. Just
Oh, time. They just going to expire and they just put out that the glimpse is there. He needs to pop the BKB and he does. That's a 10-second charge gone. Mac is having one of the roughest games I've ever seen. Like, it's not exactly his fault, right? He's just playing his hero the way it's meant to be played.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
But they are getting everything out of this Alchemist.
they definitely are. They've slowed down Mac to the point where he's just so far. I say he's so far behind. Again, he's 1k behind, but that's an Alk. We see this every single time. When an Alk is 1k behind, it might as well be 10. And Geek.FAM is really shutting down the map. They are playing quite well. They have gotten a lot more control out. They have given so much space to Raven to get so big. that he is definitely giving it back. He's working towards that Scotty, and with the added effects of the Scotty, you're losing a lot of that regen on the Alk once that's up. And it will be up soon. Like, Raven's farming pace is pretty darn good.
You'd almost love to see someone get the Vessel as well, just to really give it to the Alchemist. Like, Scotty plus Vessel, that would be really devastating. They aren't doing that though. Like, Zephyr is going to go for the Vladimir's offering,
Radiant's middle tower
which
is under
is also pretty nice. Perhaps they just don't feel like they need the Vessel. Perhaps it's just pointless. Like,
I mean,
we can take care of Mac without it.
they have been taking care of Mac without it anyway, so I can see the logic in just kind of letting that be. There is a smoke from Adroit. They might be in a good position here. Maybe?
They do get up the high ground. Cuckoo gonna get swashbuckled with a glimpse on bot, but he got the roll with Thunder off. Now to chase and find somebody, and Raven would be the best target possible. But, no, they back out. Cuckoo now, he's going to chase forward. He wants to find somebody to pick off. He doesn't have a blink, but you can really depend on Zephyr here to get the shards off. As he sees Mac, he won't get the shards he wants. Carl's just going to go ahead and take a dominated creep and get himself 200 gold.
What did you just watch? That was this like did everyone just decide to go for a short marathon? Just a bit of a jog?
Carl has found Boomy, again trying to go after a bounty rune. Blinks back from Wyman. It's very hard to kill off Boomy with untouchable.
It's a process.
Carl does not give up. Oh, he met trouble. Carl does get it eventually. That's why you never give up, kids. Keep chasing.
It takes a while. They find a kill. Adroit with a wasted smoke, wasted shapeshift, are going to have to find a different way to find those kills on the map. Right? This is going to mean that an objective is probably going to be taken here by Geek.FAm.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Raven taking a T2. Mac trying to go after an AC. Does have a nice orb of destruction. That's always good. Top lane also being pushed in by Natsumi. He's applying pressure. He won't be able to finish off the tier 2 tower, but it should be denied anyway. It's going regardless, but you would have liked the gold. Raven, he won't even deny it. He'll just leave it.
Yeah, just might as well have that up there, right? Like, I don't think, well, you know, it's always nice to get the deny off, but you'll probably come back for it. There's not much control from Adroit, so it's very risky for them to get into that area of the map. And Geek.FAM now with a 3k lead. It just feels like they have everything they want. Like, Adroit are still constantly pouring in all their resources towards Mac, so they are still trying to make this Alchemist work. I'm not sure at what point that really shouldn't be the case anymore. Like, he's just way too far behind as an Alchemist. This is probably the time where you try to maybe redistribute that farm, maybe give Natsumi a lot more to play with, and then he might be able to take these objectives a lot safer.
But if you don't invest in the up, what do you invest in? Like, Natsumi is great and all, but even the Lycan drops off.
Yeah, it's just a challenging situation all around for Adroit. You've got the Scatty up now and Raven as well, so if he does join these fights and Max around, even Lycan, right? Like, he has pretty good regen coming in. That's not going to be there with a Scotty up.
Oh, they're popping Wolf form. Raven, he has the Scotty right now. They're going to go after the Disruptor. It's a nice support pick-off, and they do take it. Natsumi going to continue chasing for more. They need everything they can get, but this is very risky to go for. As Zephyr does avoid the rolling boulder, and Carl jumps in. I think he wanted that regen room, but this could be disastrous. He does get away before the sun hits. Booming out, being targeted by Raven. I think he's got to target someone else now, Raven. He'll go after that. Meanwhile, Natsumi does get jewels up during the false promise. He should confirm the kill, but they do disarm the LC. Still Natsumi definitely should just die, and does. The chase goes way too...
Yeah, I'm not sure if Mac throwing these acid sprays are slowing them down. I think it's speeding up the rush.
Yeah, Roche gonna go down. They do also find Zephyr at least, who did snowball in, but now they do go after Bok on the Pangolier. Static Storm doesn't really connect on anything. Meanwhile, Boomy does find 2 kills. This looks okay for the side of Adroit. They also get the Aegis tonight. There's no letter on the TV, so this could be dangerous for Raven. He can't really help his team out. He'll try to man fight now with the Sunder. Going back onto Matt. Vortex there. Matt's still taking a lot of damage down the face. Ed cannot allow Raven to attack. He needs to get out. He'll pop his BKB and man off. Matt throws a stun, but he does go down. Now they take more. Jewel is back up by Cuckoo.
Nice try.
Buyback comes out from the Oracle. TML. Not sure if the buyback is really worthwhile. I guess he did have false promise, so maybe they find Cuckoo? Cuckoo's just very tanky though. Clumsy net gonna be a bit. Still trying to run. Does end up going down. Zephyr snowballs in. They really want to stop him from getting these bounty runes, it seems. And they get him regardless. Zephyr gonna give another kill away on this. Carl helps out. He does pop his rune and tries to go in with the bottle. He does eventually get CMO. That's a throwback on the Oracle. Now Bob gonna be chased down and does get glimpsed back. And it's just a messy team fight overall, but it's working out in the favor of Geek.FAm Tech Boomy. Look at Carl, he just mans up. Hit me.
Radiant's top tower.
Oh man, Geek.FAM just starting to tease Adroit a bit here. As they do maintain that lead, they did find everything they want. They've got all the kills they needed. They forced the buybacks out. They take that tier 2 objective now. No outer towers left for Adroit. Geek.FAM are just in control. They have been in control from very early on. Adroit, this investment in the Alk not paying off. We expected so much more from Alk Oracle, from the potential of just staying alive and just laying on the damage. They haven't been able to do so. And I don't know if there's any way back. Like, if Mac can actually recovery farm, then there is potential there. It's just that he's not recovery farming fast enough. He's just so far behind that Terrorblade consistently. I don't think Mac has ever been number 1 in the net worth board in the entirety of this game on an Alchemist.
But he's got an AC now, John. It's probably not going to change the game very much, but he's got it.
Oh, something.
It is something. Boss rolling thunders, rolls back home. Geek.FAM continue to farm up. Raven still the top of the net worth board by a mile, and he will have an MKB up soon.
Oh boy.
Things are getting a little bit scarier. And this is why you remember Raven as that Terrorblade player. He knows his hero like the back of his hand. And looks
He
like
hasn't
after
died.
his age. No, he hasn't. He's 4-0 with 7 assists.
Here I am.
Just no punishment from Adroit. Like, again, the laning phase is when you do bully that out. They just don't. Raven gets way too much. I believe he actually has that MKB. There you go.
Yeah.
MKB's up. Butterfly's up coming up next. Can you even match up with what this guy has? I really don't reckon that they can. Mac is keeping pace, but...
I didn't realize this is what Alchemist looks like, John. So it must be a new cosmetic for Alchemist. He looks pretty cool. Where do we buy it?
Which one?
I like it.
Dire's top tower.
The one that looks like Terrorblade.
Yeah, it's looking pretty good. If only he had Terrorblade's farm as well.
They're gonna commit a lot here to try and go on to Zephyr. So Zephyr forces a Rolling Thunder, forces a Wolf Form, probably will die if he doesn't have Snowball. He is still surviving, however. They do finally get it, but in the meantime, CMO's lost his life and they're going after Mac. Mac needs help. His team refused to help him.
Radiant structures are fortified. Dire structures are fortified.
Fam, they still have metamorphosis. So
Radiant's middle tower has fallen.
You blew it!
Radiant's middle tower.
It's an old trick. Zephyr will give the tip back. I mean, that's a revenge tip right there from Carl, of course.
Oh, yeah.
And this game, I mean, it's over, right? Like, it's... How do you come back
yeah.
from this?
it's a dieback on Mac. He's their highest net worth. The next thing in line is the Lycan at 13k. That's nothing. 34 minutes in.
He tries his best to get us like the vice up.
Radiant's bottom barracks. Radiant's bottom
I don't even know if that would be enough. Like, you've still got so much to worry about. It's not Raven, it's Carl, it's Cuckoo, it's Zephyr's too hard to kill. Now, what a Vortex coming up, that's the Aghanim that they're offering onto 3, and they just destroy them. Cuckoo gets the duel off. Boomy will die one more time, I believe. That they don't win the duel, but the Walrus Punch will get the job done. The GG has been called. And Geek.FAm, they weren't the favorites before all time. They do pull off the victory, and they will be versing Boom Esports tomorrow in the lower bracket round 2.
Yeah, that's going to be a pretty interesting rematch between the two. Of course, Boom was the one that did win out and forced Geek.FAm into the lower bracket, so that's a bit of a grudge match for them. But Adroit just